Hello, my name is Gamer_YT,
My name is Gamerpop.
and today we are joined by
Mr. Jones.
And
You
welcome
know
to
what?
the
I think that was
Gamerpopcast.
probably the.
You talked over it.
No!
Why?
I forgot about my last bit.
Just roll the intro. Hey guys, welcome to the Gamerpopcast, everybody. I just fixed the problem super fast. That's how my brain works. I am extremely smart. Welcome to the Gamerpopcast. Today we have a new guest that's never joined us before, which is like every time so far. We'll soon repeat guests because we don't have that many friends. Welcome to the podcast. Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself, what you're doing here? Well, not what you're doing here. We know why you're here because we
I
asked you
don't
to
know
be
what
here.
I'm doing here.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And what you
Thank
do
you.
and stuff.
I'm Mr. Jones. A lot of people, Nira knows me, and a lot of people from
Hello.
Falmouth do. But
Nice.
yeah, pretty much. I'm a 3D game dev animator. I study a lot of animation, and I'm very fond of it because I've been studying it as a hobby for around 5 years now. And
That's
pretty
sick.
much, most people in first year know me as the crackhead animator. Pretty much because of how long I spend animating. But yeah, pretty much.
To clarify, he doesn't take illegal drugs.
He doesn't.
No, I
Just a
don't.
nickname.
I don't do it. Stay in school,
Just a
stay in
nickname.
school, kids. But yeah, no. Pretty
That's
much.
funny.
No, I do a lot of 3D animation. I enjoy it very thoroughly, and it's one of my favorite things. And if you ever talk to me, I'll either be animating or I'm always down for a chill conversation, to be honest. But yeah.
There you go.
There
That's
you go.
amazing. Wonderful. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to have. We like to have chill people on the podcast. I am interested by this. Okay, so I have no artistical ability. Well,
Wow. Okay,
in
you have
the
more
terms of
artistical.
drawing.
You have more artistical
Hold on.
ability than me.
Can I let you into
Yeah.
a secret?
yeah, go on.
You don't
Help
need
us.
to draw to be a 3D animator. So many people get it thinking they need to have an artistic background. I came from a medical background.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's
yeah.
wild. Wait. So why do you not have to have like an artistical background? Like, why is it not kind of important?
So there's a stigma around people saying you need to be a good artist to be a good animator. However, animation and art are two completely different things. If you want to be
Okay.
a good animator, particularly for 3D, 2D obviously you need to know to draw. 3D you don't. What you need to know with 3D is how to act. Animation is acting and not drawing. They're completely different things, so you need to understand how to kind of learn body language, how someone talks, the amount of time something takes, and it's mainly looking around those areas instead of thinking, I need to draw this, plan this, because in the end, you won't really know how to animate a certain action unless you act it out or find reference for it. So being an actor is much better than being an artist for 3D animation.
Wow.
Cool.
That is. I kind of never thought about it like that because I guess because 3D animation is massively based on like more based on like real life stuff. It's more reference to kind of things you've actually seen than making them up and making them look like your own kind of thing. Like not like
Precisely.
you can't do that, but like 2D is very much like you have to trick kind of lots of, you have to
Yeah,
do
with
your
2D,
3D
they
I
tend
guess is
to.
like
I feel like with 2D, a lot of
realistic.
animations where they like exaggerate a lot. So when you kick something, like your foot gets way bigger than it's meant to be,
Yeah.
and then shrinks back down. Whereas with 3D, you can't really do that. It's a lot
No,
more
I
just...
mean, yeah,
It'd
definitely.
be interesting
with-
if you did that
yeah.
in 3D.
there are ways to do it. I'll just look at it. There are obvious fundamentals. There are 12 fundamentals with animation, and it applies for both 2D and 3D. But as for anything, once you manage to learn those and get good at them, you're able to break them and put your own twist to it. The issue is, like, in professional animation, if you ever watch any like Disney show reels or any Disney animators, ILM and all them, they don't have any 2D drawings in their kind of animation reference. They have their own video reference. Animators always take own video reference instead of drawing. And even if they did plan anything, their drawings are very rough. And a lot of people, even in like top companies, don't draw. They literally just plan out using stickmen. I have a whole book on it, and literally, you don't need to be good at drawing in order to be a really good animator in that area.
Well,
Oh.
that's kind of like one of those things where you kind of think about it and you go, "Oh right." Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. You kind of just have an assumption that like everybody just
Do you have to
3D
do live
animation
drawing?
must be like, yeah.
No, you don't have to do life drawing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why did I have to do live drawing?
We get
It's like-
in. Yeah. Yeah, when did you?
Well, I got out of it
Like,
pretty
why?
quick. I did it for like
Yeah.
1 week and I was like, screw
You're one of
this.
the
I'm
lucky
like,
ones.
but yeah, no, that's weird.
That is, it's pretty cool. I have a question about 3D kind of animation, like in terms of is it more? Would you say it's more valuable now to have 3D animators because of like VR stuff? Would you say that's a big push for 3D animation, or would you just say like it's as good? It's just as normal, kind of.
I didn't even consider that.
There are pros and cons for both 3D and 2D animation currently. There's a whole stigma where people say 2D animation is still lively as ever. Unfortunately, it has gone downhill. But with the games industry slowly gaining up, there are more and more roles becoming more active for 3D animators than 2D animation.
Yeah.
To put it for example, in a games industry, you can have, there are certain levels. So you have like, and it could apply with 2D animation. You have an associate animator, then a junior animator, then an animator, senior animator, lead animator, potentially a principal animator, animation directors, which can apply for both. But now there's also roles coming in for like facial animation. So they bring in an entirely different animator.
Wait,
for
they do
animating.
facial I thought a lot of people use facial like rigging where they just track your face.
No, that's for motion capture. There's a lot of things as well. There's facial animation at EA at the moment where they bring in people to, like, let's say they have motion capture data for facial animation. They need to clean it up, and people who have an understanding of facial animation better than anyone for like creating appealing faces and all that, they'll bring them in instead of taking another animator that's really good at body mechanics and combat but has no idea about how to animate people's emotions.
Yeah, obviously. What sort of path do you think you'd go down?
Yeah, where's your realm?
Realistically, I would like to become a lead animator, but realistically, I'd like to have my own studio eventually when I get older. Like, have my own animation studio where either we work for other companies or we're able to create our own cinematics or games and stuff like that. To be honest.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds so cool. This is like, honestly, this is like such a selfish response from somebody like saying how much they want to do stuff. But I would find it so cool if, like, I don't know however many years in the future, we're still doing the Gamerpopcast. We're like, today we have Mr. Jones on. You're like, yeah. So last time I was on the podcast, I mentioned that I wanted to start a 3D animation company. Well, the newest film that was out, that was me.
So
I'll just be like, go on.
That would be pretty epic one day.
I mean, that's if me and Nero are out here just being like, still doing the podcast in that many years time.
Yeah.
But also, it also means that you'd have to like not come on the podcast for a very massive number of years between now and then. And I feel like
okay.
I feel like that's just too much. I mean, there's even too much pressure to put on me and Nero to think of more guests. Like, we're gonna have to start recycling, you guys.
Yeah.
So let's bring the first guy back on.
To be fair, I can think of at least 2, maybe 3 more people.
Oh man, we're gonna go for 2 to 3
know.
more weeks. Nice.
Oh yeah,
And that's it. Season ends. Boom.
That's it.
Boom.
Boom. End of season.
Won't ever
Season
upload
2.
for another 4
Season
years.
3
guys.
back with North, and then we just
Season
go back
3
with 10
back with-
people.
We just go back. I mean, it's not. It's not
2
bad
to
at all.
3,
problem
where are they
is-
now?
The problem is, okay, with this whole thing is I feel like we've been going. Oh no, I can't say this actually. No, like for example, North, right? We brought him on, and he used to stream. He doesn't stream anymore, so we can't bring him back.
Yeah. Yeah, shame. Well, anyway, we're glad to have you on today. I think that is one of those things where running a podcast like this, we get guests like with different things that they're into, and it's just super interesting. And I kind of want to stick on this animation thing, just like really quickly, just because I think what sort of like job opportunities are out there for animators, like specifically, like
okay,
because I'm guessing there's more than you would realize. Like there's more than you think off the top of your head.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for 3D animators at the moment. The industry is really growing quickly.
Yeah.
The reality of a 3D animator is like, if you go in it for like the pay, I'm gonna be brutally honest here. You go in for the pay, you're not doing it right. Because like in the UK, you don't get paid the right amount realistically. But a lot of people do it for fun because it's a great job, to be honest. You get to act out, you get to animate cool characters, all that. It's pretty cool. In terms of how many jobs keep coming up, it's more and more. Because think about it, more games are being developed, more studios are coming out, and there's like they bring in associate animators to basically
more people
graduates.
are moving from 2D to 3D, like even just TV and film.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say it's better to stay in games than feature film, to be honest, because I mean we've all seen Disney be I mean,
but no, like
there's that. Yeah.
For example, I think children's TV. So I noticed recently, like I was looking at like a bunch of old like TV series when I was like young, and like most of them were like either models like stop motion or 2D or whatever. Nowadays, everything is like 3D animated. Literally everything on like kids TV. Which is like
that is wild. I mean, that's what happened, wasn't it? Like all these programs that people our age watched when they
like Thomas the Tank
Engine. People our age watched when they were younger. We're like all the stop motion stuff is basically 3D animation now.
Yeah.
They stopped like pretty much all the stop motion stuff, and the only stuff that's kind of stuck around is like a little bit of the 2D animation stuff.
I have so much respect for stop motion animators purely because if they mess up one frame, they have to restart it. Like Jesus.
Yeah. How similar is 3D to stop motion? Like actually, like.
Right, 3D animation, in my opinion, is much easier than stop motion. Stop motion, doing things frame by frame. If you mess up, you restart. Like it's not one of those things where it's like, I messed up this frame, I can do it. If it looks wrong, you do it again. It's interesting how they find out where to place the steps, because underneath, like the feet on a stop motion model or on a table, they put like the holes where the feet are meant to land. So essentially, that the animator would know where to, for example, one of the contact poses would have to go. And it's really interesting because it saves them with the planning and the processing. But to put it into specifically, stop motion, like you have companies like Leica that make Coraline, Paranorman, and all that. You know, you look at those and you think, oh, I wonder how much time that took. Animated films now, they take a lot less time than you would think. They take around, I want to say 2 years to animate. However, stop motion, they could take anywhere between like 4 years to animate.
Yeah.
There's some that they do it for like 8 years of like the whole production's taking 8 years to like do, and it's like what? I remember doing, because I did a bit of stop motion. I've done a bit of stop motion, and I've like, it's time consuming. I think the comparison I can make to it is like with you know, this is the comparison that I can make. Obviously, is like somebody who does like kind of camera stuff. Back in the, you know, you'd have and records actually, like music stuff as well. When you have like old tapes and old like film, so like film cameras and stuff. You know, they were kind of, the editing style of those was very, very linear. Like you had to physically cut them and paste them, and like it was really hard to put it back together once you'd cut, and like you wouldn't be able to do like the types of things that we've got with like the digital editing now, and we've got this non-linear version of editing where we can move anything anywhere and it work. In like if you do it well. And I just have that. I guess that's like the comparison I guess you'd make with like between stop motion and 3D animation now. Like you can like make mistakes and fairly easily fix it. Like if one of your frame is wrong, you can just go to that frame and change it like in your software.
Yeah, exactly.
But like stop motion would, like if one of their frames they discover is wrong, they're like, right, okay, to redo that whole scene, you know.
Yeah, right. Exactly. With stop motion, I always I kind of find it quite satisfying to do, because it's like you spend hours just trying to get this one piece like across the scene, right? You spend like ages, and then when it's done, it just comes together, and you're like, oh, it looks good. If it goes wrong, you're like, oh, but I don't really
this
care.
Does not look good.
This looks. Oh no, what have I done?
So it's just like
didn't work out.
Yeah. No, I've done quite a few stop motions with the whole Widmer series, which is why I don't make animations. Which it's a little bit like old now. But I still quite like those animations. They're still fun.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess the thing that always stopped me from doing 3D, well, from even attempting to do 3D animation, was the whole bit we talked about before, about like lack of artistic skill.
Yeah, a lot of
in terms
people
of drawing
feel like that
and stuff like that. Because I mean, we're all
I think I'm the same.
You can do art and stuff, but it's like the actual drawing side of it. I always just thought, I could never do that type of thing.
It's an interesting one because there's like a lot of debates around it, whether like, oh, you need to be a good artist to know to do 3D animation. Not really. The thing is with 3D animation, as I said, animation is acting. What you need to get a grasp of is like the fundamentals, and then you're set pretty much. And then you just keep practicing body references, body mechanics, all that kind of stuff. And it's an interesting one because there's a lot of teachers that will say, oh no, you need to do this and that and yada yada yada, life drawing and all that. It's like, you can break down video reference. You don't need to draw like these bodies if you have an understanding of anatomy. An understanding of anatomy and body language is better than drawing for 3D animation, because if you can break down what the muscles are doing, the better. And it's like, there's always this stigma and debate between like when going for a job with some people. It's like, oh, should students know how to draw in order to go in this? It's like, what you're doing then is you're preventing yourself from fully dedicating time towards a certain speciality, so 3D animation, and you're spending that time then going over 2D work, when in reality you're kind of prolonging how quickly you'll eventually get to be a really good 3D animator. So somebody might be getting better at animation by 50% simply because they're not focusing on 2D, they're focusing entirely on the 3D pipeline, for example.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I was like, originally it was like, oh, I'm not going to go into 3D animation because of the art, and then I met you, and now it's because of the amount of work that you do, and I'm like intimidated.
The intimidation has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like with animation, it's as everything else as we do in this course. It's like, you can't simply put just 4 hours into something. There was someone who posted, oh, I do 4 hours of animation, I'm good at this. Like, no, 4 hours isn't enough. Because when you're animating, 4 hours is barely any time whatsoever in order to polish a scene, animate a scene, plan a scene. Planning a scene for animation can take anywhere from 2 hours to 3 days for professionals.
Oh my god.
And it's stuff like that, and then they get given deadlines to animate a scene in like 2 weeks. And like 2 weeks seems like a lot of time for an animator. If you want to sometimes if you want to animate like a showreel clip that's like 10 seconds, that can take like 3 months.
Oh yeah, god. No, to be fair, what about 20 seconds? Would that take an extra like 3-4 months, or would that be like about half the time?
It depends on the kind of scene that you're animating, to be honest. But 20 seconds, geez, I haven't actually met an animator that's animated 20 seconds.
Okay, what I mean is like, is it like per second
say
is an extra X amount of time, or is it like it's an X amount of time, and then whatever seconds you add on is like.
Wait, is it like an hour per second?
No, I wouldn't say it's an hour per second. No.
A day per second.
So
a week.
To put it,
It's a week per second.
yeah.
2 assignments that are 2 weeks long, and this one 2 seconds. That's all.
Yeah. To put it in like the simplest form possible, you got the animation director and supervisor animator who's above you at this point, and essentially they're like, "All right, this needs to be done in 2 weeks. You can't complain about it. Say you had to animate 5 seconds in 2 weeks. You have to get that done." You're able to ask for help, you're able to ask for advice, your animation director gives notes in order for you to get there quicker. But essentially what they want is like there's certain phases. So you have the planning phase and the video reference, you show that off to the director, and the director will basically go, they'll either approve it or disapprove it, and you have to go back and redo it, or you can continue forward. So basically green light or red light. Once you go into the green light, you start blocking out. So blocking out is basically getting certain poses into it, and then you keep on giving it to the director. They give notes back. They can say, you need to change this, or the character should be like such and such. For a 10-second
So is that like
clip,
a freeze frame?
Yeah, so essentially, blocking pose is the blocking phase. There are different ways of doing it. I do it in a step tangent. So essentially, you see only individual frames. There's no in between, so it doesn't go from pose A to pose B. It's just pose A, and then it waits a couple of frames, then instantly pose B. It's like freeze frames.
Yeah.
And basically, they can see it and they can gather and understand. They either understand what the character is going to be doing, or they don't, and then they'll go back to you and all that. But then obviously comes in crunch time. And crunch time is not an enjoyable one. That's a
yeah.
Crunch
ain't fun
I'm not
anytime.
looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to that.
The way I imagine it, the way I kind of view it in my head is, so if you do video editing, right? So if I'm editing some sort of video, right, I would edit it, but I wouldn't look frame by frame. I'd look, at clips and sections and bits like that. But if I was editing music, maybe I'd listen to it, but I wouldn't listen to it again. I wouldn't do like frame by frame, like note by note. I do sections. So animation is just like, to me, it feels like something completely wild if you're going to do it, because it's legitimately like frame by frame. Like, you look at every frame in extreme detail compared to what you would do in like a basic kind of like, even in some more professional editing and music stuff. Like, you have to look at it in so much more detail. So that's like always kind of blows my mind a little bit,
Yeah.
How many frames is a normal animation nowadays, like for 3D one? Because I know 2D tended to be 24, I believe, or less.
Yeah, films. Well, 2D actually, a lot of people say it's 24. You think it's 24? Like,
I have no idea.
No,
I genuinely don't know.
12 and a half. 12 and a half.
Well,
I did 12 and a half frames when I did it, but
yeah, if I remember correctly, like anime and
30
films are different. Anime is like 15 frames, if I remember correctly. 3D nowadays, film is usually in 24. Games are either in 30 or 60.
Yeah.
Frames per second.
You could probably get away with 30 on a
with
60.
Games, I honestly have never thought about this. I could be completely wrong, but so game models. So when you hang on. So 3D animation, does it happen with games? Do you have to animate the characters? Is that the point? Or is it just the cinematics in the games?
No, you have to animate everything. I mean, in games, you animate the characters, the guns.
Yeah. So
guns,
everything is like
everything.
completely animated.
Yeah, unless it's motion
at like
captured,
60 frames per second.
If it's a game in 60 FPS, then yeah.
Which is like most games.
That is so many frames.
Yeah.
I just never really thought about how many frames are in games,
Does it really matter though, because it's not stop motion? Is it just like... Because I know in stop motion, every frame is like an individual picture, essentially.
Yeah.
Is it the same with 3D animation, or is it like...
Well, because of the fundamentals... yeah.
Is it just like you have this frame and then this frame, and it's just like automatically does it between the two?
Yes, that's in Maya, the program that's regularly used. Say you had one pose and then another pose. If you auto tangent it, basically called splining, the computer generates a interpolation from pose A to pose B. So basically, it tries to generate what it.
And then I'm guessing half your time is making it look pretty because it will probably mess it up like mental.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, most of the time is set in the planning and blocking phase, and then when you refine it, that's when it comes to the last moments, and you spend a long time because you start adjusting timing again and like a lot of other things, and it's just a long process because it's like you can't simply do pose A to pose B. Then I mean, I wish it was as simple as that.
I mean, within Unity, when you want to move a block from left to right, you just go, I want here to here, and it just does it like magic. Okay.
Yep.
But obviously, that's a lot less complicated than moving it like around a whole arc, and then it's just like
I guess would be my final question about animation. Would you say?
Final question.
Sorry, so my final question. Everybody else can keep talking about it. My final kind of query about it more is like, why is it more important now? Like, why do you think it's getting more popular? Is it because games mostly? Is that the big push, or is it just animated stuff altogether? It's just more popular.
I reckon it's because more studios and companies are opening up, especially in indie, that animators become more important because obviously you can animate and code and all that, but in order to get like the really stylized kind of animation or like motion capture, you still need people to clean up the motion capture. Animators are becoming more popular because games companies simply want to make more games and they want to make more money, and therefore they'll bring these people in. The issue is the animation industry is very competitive. It's not one of those things where you can start thinking, I'm all right at it, I'll find a job. You got to be the best of the best in order to find a job at this point.
Right,
and it's getting more and more competitive, especially overseas, because of how many students... Because over in America, they have animation schools. Over here, we don't. Because, for example, next year, I'm going to be doing Animation Mentor, which is an online animation school considered one of the best, because it's taught by industry pros. And, like, I'm using that out of my own money. But in order for me to get ahead of competition and to get those internships, I need to pay for that education. And it's like, for an animator, you can self-teach yourself to a certain amount, but if you're not getting any critiques or anything, you're not going to become a good animator. Because if you're not accepting any critiques from anyone else, you don't see certain issues someone else might see or a professional might see.
Wow,
right,
that's mental.
There's like an extra step. It's a crazy thing because it's not secret. Like, don't tell anybody. But it's like a secret side of it's a secret side of a lot of the creative industries, the competition. But it's especially a secret side of animation. Like, I guess you don't realize how competitive it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you tend to be like, oh, that's like decent. Like, 3D animation, that's a lot of stuff. That'll be like plenty of jobs available, but obviously not.
it really is. And people think, 3D animation, it's just this and this, I'll find a job easily. No, you really won't, mate. It's so competitive that a lot of people change jobs because of it. You've literally got to keep at it and become the best of the best. There's no in between. Even at a junior level, you still need to have that pretty good talent there, to be honest.
Something I've been wanting to ask is, where... Actually, I've got a few things still. I'll start off with this, actually. Is it cheaper for a company to make a 2D animation or a 3D animation? Like today? Like, is it...
I guess that varies on... I guess in that... the big impact of that is time. Like, I guess maybe the first question we'd start with would be, does it take longer to do 2D or 3D? And then I guess follow up.
Okay, it's hard to say because it depends on the amount of animators they hire. I mean, that's the realistic thing. Personally, because of the pipeline with 3D, I reckon 3D costs more. Because if you think about it, you get 3D modelers, you get riggers who basically allow the animators animate. You get the animators, you then get the VFX people, you get texturing, you know, and world blockout. There's a lot more things than 2D, definitely. However, 2D is purely based on the time and the skill, to be honest. 2D is amazing. Like, I would say, you know, 3D gets easier in animation because 2D, they gotta draw those things out frame by frame. And they need to know how the human body works. Whereas 3D, you know, we learn it, but then the computer can generate certain light curves for us for the animation. So I have utmost respect for the 2D animators, to be honest. But I would definitely say, in terms of money-wise, 3D animation costs a lot more. If you ever look at the budget for the films, it tends to be towards the creative way as well.
I was gonna say, because
actors,
I noticed on Disney Plus that, you know, the film Tangled. That's a 3D film, but they have a mini series that's spun off it, which is 2D.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, did they do that because it's cheaper?
Probably. If a company can afford that, then most definitely yes. If it's ever a series, there's nowhere near going to be as much budget as the film, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it's definitely taken down quite a bit.
I'm guessing as well, like, okay, I don't know if this is true, and I might be like blaspheming to animators right now. Yeah, but I'm guessing 2D animation just inherently takes less time. Like,
what? No, I thought it was the opposite. Surely it's the opposite.
No, because 2D is like, I feel like you have to work on far less. You know,
into
one frame, you have to work on far less angles. You know, you just
yeah, but you have to work on each individual frame with 2D, whereas you don't.
You have to do that with 3D as well.
No,
not always with 3D. Sometimes
right, we were talking about before, but
yeah.
Well, you see, I'm completely wrong, but
I wouldn't say you're wrong. It completely depends. There are scenes that normally would take absolutely longer with 3D. Because with 2D, if they're not going fully on perspective, you can get away with a lot of things. Obviously, perspective is a fundamental for art, and that is important. However, you can get away with certain things in 2D you can't with 3D, because 3D you're shown all dimensions. It depends entirely on the scene. For example, I've seen a lot of 2D animators, and it takes them a lot quicker to animate something than a 3D animator would, and vice versa. So it entirely depends on the scene and also who's animating on it. Like, there are some animators that are just really great at being able to do it because they spend so much time on a scene, but it looks brilliant doing so. It's a hard one to say, honestly, but for TV series and shows, I mean, they manage to put stuff out quickly. I mean, as well, even that with anime, because I mean, if you ever read into the animes, they literally create cuts within a week. They literally animate entire things.
Then anime kind of cheats in a way that I noticed a lot, where they sort of pause, like, and literally just animate the mouth of a character.
Yeah, that is true. Like, they get away with that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, which isn't the same.
It's part of the style, I guess.
North American.
It's not the same as. I would personally say that anime is better than a lot of Western animations I see, purely because they do those, but then the fight sequences and a whole lot
they spend more time
way better.
Yeah.
They don't even spend more time. Literally, those people pump it out quick. Even though they are underpaid and all that, their determination and creativity, they pump those things out quick.
I guess it's part of the. I mean, I guess it has to be quick because animes, man, they're the longest series in the world.
Yeah.
Like, how many episodes in the series? They're like 42 episodes. I'm like, what do you mean?
Most animes are like one series, episodes. 2 series, but you do get some.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about like episodes in the series. Like they're like 40. Like the episode numbers seem to be quite high.
I mean,
boys, what episode of One Piece are we on now?
I haven't actually watched One Piece because of the amount of episodes.
God,
every time I look at it, I'm like, that's too daunting. I can't do that.
Exactly.
It's when like series have like 600 episodes. You're like, whoa,
It's like Pokemon. I'm never going to be able to watch Pokemon because there's like over 900 episodes. What's it, over 1,000?
Yeah, it's like, I don't have time for 900 episodes. I just can't do that.
there's got to be some terrible episodes in there, you know? Like, sure, it might be a goat overall, but there's got to be some series which are just, like, so boring. If you have that many.
There are 931 episodes of One Piece.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. This is why I don't... This is why I don't watch a lot of anime. And it's generally just because I feel like I can't sink the time in.
I would say, my favorite anime at the moment is Jujutsu Kaisen. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites.
Last week I watched Girls and Panzer, which was actually really good.
Oh, someone's recommended that to me actually the other day, and I was like, look into it.
Yeah, no, it came out back in 2013. One of my friends has been recommending it to me for years now. But yeah, I finally got around to watching it, and it was good. Yeah, I've also watched Attack on Titan for the first time like a month ago. Was it? Yeah, it was about a month ago. Which was like, oh, such a good anime, but I hadn't watched it.
Yeah, literally, Attack on Titan. I don't want to see any spoilers, so that's why
I haven't watched the latest season yet because it's not finished. I'm waiting for it to be finished and then I'll binge watch it.
I don't use Twitter that often. I use it to post work and networking. Networking is an important thing. If people do not network already in this creative industry, do so.
What do you think I'm doing now?
Creative industry. What do you think we're here for? This whole podcast is just networking.
Literally, like Twitter.
And the whole time I'm just looking out for people. It's like, yo, you want to be in my film? My name is making a film. I was like, just in case I do, I need people. All right, I need people to go work.
Yeah.
You wanna make me a 3D motion graphic? You do that now. Come on, let's go.
There are people on Twitter that I've followed, and they follow me because we talked a lot. One of them is a graduate from Falmouth. Her name's Sophie Sheffer. She works at Creative Assembly. She's lovely. There's Nick Rogers, who's head of animation at Frontier Developments. Creating Jurassic Work, Evolution, Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster. There's a senior animator.
You follow and they follow you. Like you're currently being followed by somebody who works on like Planet. He worked on Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo and all that.
He's lead animator.
Damn.
Okay. You take a network to another level.
Alright, I should ramp up.
If I don't have like Martin Scorsese following me by tomorrow, I'm gonna move industry from TV and film and stuff like that to like completely different industry. Let's just move it. Let's get out.
There's a senior animator at Rooster Teeth. There's an animator.
Oh my god!
Who worked on Shazam.
You got the Ruby people. Oh, you've got me.
Oh my gosh.
Who else? There's an animation director who was a former Blizzard, Riot, Blur, and EA.
Oh my god! How do you know all these people?
He's just like messaged like, "Hey yo, I'm an animator. What's up?"
How do you start a conversation with him?
Literally,
Hello,
I'm the term, just gonna slide into their DMs. Literally, I've gone into on Twitter. They tend to have messages open, and if they don't, I send them like a @ or something. And we get talking, and we just talk for a bit casually. It's not like a very serious thing.
Is it just like, oh hey, I'm inspired to be an animator, any tips? Is that the sort of thing?
No, this is how the conversation goes. I can explain it. This is how the conversation goes, right? You go up to them, you send a message, you're like, yo, what's up? They're like, yo, what's up? Like 20 seconds later, maybe you're in a bit of a conversation about animation. 30 seconds later, hey, do you want to be the godfather of my child? Yes, I would. Thank you very much. That's exactly what I want. That's how.
You're not wrong with the first two. It does tend to be talking about animation, usually, but a lot of the other times it's just talking about industry and all that. And basically, I'm familiar with their work, and I go, "Oh, were you the person that animated such and such?" And I go, "Oh, you've actually seen my work." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a big fan and such." And like I'll mention to them like this one obscure thing, and they were like, "Jesus, I animated that about 10 years ago." It was like, wait, what? But it's stuff like that. Yeah, it's exciting, and they're like, "Oh my god, I didn't think somebody knew that work from back then." From now, it's like, yeah, no, I really liked it. But usually it's just very casual because like not all animators want to talk about animation in their free time. They just tend to like kind of want to chill, just get to know people, and be just treated like normal people. And like usually that's what I do.
Animators are real people. Animators are real people, guys.
Whoa, breaking news.
They're not just animators. treat animators with respect, guys.
Damn.
I mean, you have to treat with respect because the hours are mad, and that's what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
It's mental.
And I'm guessing a lot of free time, like a lot of like free unpaid hours. I mean, it's badly paid, like you were saying, as well as the fact that like even in your spare time, animators, you know, are of course going to be like animating stuff for their own and trialing stuff out of hours. You know, it's part of the passion, isn't
it? It's a interesting one.
That's
overall.
crazy.
But yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, if anybody hasn't, you know, fallen asleep to the conversation about animation, we are going to give Mr. Jones a rest and move on to the topic of sleep itself.
Damn.
Hello, everybody. We're going to have 10 minutes of the podcast which is going to be asleep. So that's what we're doing for the next. I'm joking. I just wanted to mention this as like as a thing that I've found out this week. I wouldn't say found out. It's like, oh, I discovered this. But okay, I've been trying my best to wake up super early. Now I generally wake up fairly early anyway, but I'm talking like 5 a.m.
Yeah,
I'm talking like 5 a.m. Okay,
5 a.m.
Okay, listen. Before you start judging me, hey, there's this video I watched, and this guy was like, wake up at 5 a.m. you'll feel so much better. But then obviously the caveat is you have to go to sleep earlier, which obviously I haven't been doing. So
I'm looking at the time right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're recording this podcast at 10 past 11. Like,
you got 6
clearly
hours until you wake up. You got
exactly,
6 hours.
That's the point. So my question is, okay, so there's two things really. The first one is, right, sleep, right? Okay, do you find that no matter how much time you sleep for, it's really the quality of sleep that really affects how tired you are? And then I guess the second question is, apparently, if you substitute sleep with things that are quite high intensity, like exercise or like really kind of high intensity kind of, I don't know what else, yeah? Apparently you sleep better and you can actually sleep for less hours because you sleep deeper. But I don't know if that's true.
Damn.
So I think for the second one, the second one with like getting better sleep after doing like intensive stuff. I know that before sleep, I used to do a lot of workouts because obviously we're in COVID and I need to stay healthy somehow. One thing that I would always do is work out in the evening because once I've worked out and I felt exhausted, I just go in my bed and I would literally sleep in the next half an hour. And
wow.
as typical as it is, I sleep for like a good 6 hours, 7 hours without waking up and all that, and it's pretty good. The thing with the first one, like, okay, it depends on the day. Sometimes it's 3 hours.
3?
It depends on deadlines.
Oh my god.
Depends on how much you're doing, eh?
Yeah, literally. But like in terms of like the first one, like it's hard to say because like I've had nights where I've had like really terrible sleep because like I would sleep for 2 hours, wake up because I heard something, sleep again in half an hour, wake up another 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't count that as like a good sleep, and that just ruins me the next day because I feel grouchy and tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I get that a lot when I'm
sleeping
in if I'm like staying over at a friend's house or if I'm going to like a different bed. It's whenever I'm in like a different bed. Like it always takes me a good week or so of sleep to get used to it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I guess the main point. Is not main point, but I guess that's kind of the main question is, and this is kind of what I'm trying to get at really, is could you if you sleep for less hours, right? If you sleep for less hours, then maybe they'd recommend like 5 hours, say. But if you did that every single day without fail, 5 hours every single day, do you think you'd get used to it and you'd like start dealing with it and be completely fine with it? Or do you think you genuinely need to just have like a good amount of sleep for a good amount of with a good schedule, kind of?
I've tried this, and the schedule doesn't work either.
Together, schedule doesn't work either. Okay.
I've done lots of experiments throughout lockdown on my sleep schedule.
Are they on purpose experiments, or are they some of the best?
Sometimes on purpose, sometimes not on purpose. It just depends. But I have tried like I have tried going to sleep at set schedules, well, not set schedules, but like set amounts of time. And I discovered that any less than 10 hours for me, I am horrible the next day. Any more than 10 hours is fine. Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. I need 10 hours of sleep. Wow. And I feel like I've always been like that.
So if you're asleep in the next half an hour, then you should wake up at 10 a.m. to actually feel.
Well, that's the problem. Is I'm always knackered every day because I don't have 10 hours sleep most days.
Wow, maybe I should test that. Maybe I should test like how many hours does it take me to feel like, and then substitute that into a schedule.
It's like 10 hours is a lot, and the problem is with 10 hours is that it doesn't line up because I need a certain amount of time awake as well before I even feel sleepy. And it doesn't add up to 24. It does not. It just doesn't. It adds up to more.
So it ends up like putting you out of schedule, basically. Yeah. So you say you might go to sleep for 10 hours, but then you're awake even longer. So then it kind of just does this constant cycle, is what you're saying. Like if you kept getting 10 hours, then your 10 hours just kept getting pushed back.
That's exactly what happened.
Into like later into the night.
That's what happened back in last autumn. I was experimenting a lot with my sleep, and essentially what I found was that I at one point my sleep schedule went completely backwards, so that I was awake all night, asleep all day. And what I discovered, and then I tried to fix it by, let's say, staying up for 24 hours and then sleeping for a bit, and cutting down on it essentially. That didn't do anything, and I just had to keep the same sleep for this amount of time and wake up whenever I do. And it just slowly ticked around to the right time. And then once it got to the right time, I just started cutting down the amount of sleep. And eventually I got knackered and had to start over again.
Jeez.
That's the only thing I've found so far. It's not fun.
That's... Do you think music helps with sleep? So no. I downloaded this app called Sleep Cycle. It's a great app. It's free. I don't use it anymore, but I did. And I think I'll probably go back to using it. And it monitors like your sleep and tells you when you're best sleep. And when the alarm goes off in the morning, you give it a half an hour window to wake you up, and it'll wake you up at what it deems is the kind of optimal time for you to feel most awake when you're woken up. Okay. Basically, that's kind of how it works. It's very clever, and I found it really helpful. But one of the things that you can do is you can play like a calming song to get you to sleep. And I always thought that was the dumbest thing ever.
See, for me, I have tried listening to music, but this is just normal music. It's not like calm or relaxing music. It's just like sometimes I listen to normal music before sleep, and it just keeps me awake for even longer. To be honest, when I listen to music, I tend to go to sleep an hour or two later. I don't know why. I think it's just my brain just like, and now you shall do all sorts of random stuff. Why is the earth the way is it? I don't know. All these dumb questions like shower thoughts.
Changes like, okay. I mean, question about that.
Time to contemplate life.
Yeah. I think in terms of music, for me, ever since I'm living on campus, music has helped because it's very noisy during the night.
Yeah.
So putting my headphones on, listening really does help.
That does make sense.
The issue is, then because you're wearing that all night and you're listening to it during the night, you can cause headaches with it. And headaches are annoying as all hell. Because wake up, to try and sleep as well. Wake up with it. You wake up and you can feel the rush of blood to your head and all that, and you're thinking, oh my god.
Do you think maybe not listen to music next time I go to sleep?
Well, I wish I would take that advice, but I don't. And for me as well.
The next night you're like, go on then. Let's have another go.
Go on then, let's have another go. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
I feel like my earphones would get in the way. I wouldn't be able to sleep properly because I wouldn't be comfortable because I tend to sleep on my side. And my ear is against the pillow, so I can't really wear headphones or earphones or anything. It just pushes, yeah.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I've listened to music. I've listened to music way more since the kind of working from home type of stuff. I listen to music doing everything I do. Really, there's always some music on in the background, mainly to keep myself busy. But I guess. The real question is, are you listening to music maybe it's too much. Now? I am actually.
And you're meant to be recording.
listen to separate headphones. I feel like that's become an addiction to listen to music.
Separate headphones.
If I start having separate headphones for music.
Does this mean that you've got like an extra pair on top of your pair of headphones?
No, it's just that ear plugged on one of the ears. An earbud or something. Yeah. Anyway, it's all fun. It's all fun in games. We love to see it, you know? That's why we're here. We love music. No. But in all seriousness, yeah. I just think I'm gonna do some sleep experiments. I think maybe I'll update the podcast in a couple of weeks about my sleep experiments.
Oh god, let us know how it goes, whether you're grouchy or not.
Talking about updating the podcast.
Are we gonna have an update about what?
The secret channel is almost at 1,000 subscribers.
Ready?
So close.
Oh my gosh.
958. It's
secret
almost
channel, man.
And as of recording,
when's the video coming out?
I'm not sure yet, but as of recording, it's for 1 month, like anniversary, like for literally 1 month tomorrow. That's when I set up. I don't know about the video.
1 month.
I don't know about the first video. I haven't looked at that.
That's growth, man.
I know.
It's growth.
Yeah, it's still 1 month tomorrow. I uploaded my first video on the first day. Whew, that's rare.
Wow.
But yeah, and I'm just crossing my fingers I reach 1,000 tomorrow. It's like perfect. Like if like it's 1 month and 1,000 like exactly the same time. Like I know I said how in 1 month I gained 10,000 TikTok followers. I don't think it was exactly a month. I think it was slightly a few days more. But it would be nice to be a month to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, just for the continuity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know about what I've been doing, Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones.
If I'm thinking of the right channel, maybe, because I think I posted something.
Don't name it, because it's.
No. I'm not naming it, but I do believe I do know what you're on about. I'm not fully sure what you plan on doing, but I do know what you've been posting on it.
Yeah. So basically, I'm working on a new video.
Don't know
on
about you guys, but sounds like an OnlyFans. No.
And that video, it will just say, has been reaping its rewards. I've now got way more subscribers on my main channel, even.
Yeah. Let's not talk about the fact that you had 206 the other day and then went down to 202. You know.
Wait, did I? I didn't even know I had 206. I've got 205 now.
You're beating me. That's, I guess, the important thing to you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I saw that one. I checked.
My afraid, I'm not upset about it. You can beat me all you want. I'm just fine. It's fine. I'm not upset about it. It's just you could be a little bit more respectful about my subscribers.
I subscribed to you on my on the secret account.
Well, does that really help? No. So.
Does that help? No.
I'm not salty about it. I just think, I'm not salty. I just think, why are you doing this to me?
Look.
Why is this personal attack happening right now?
I'm not salty. I just wish it wasn't you.
Damn. Damn. I call this bullying.
I guess as we're approaching the end of the podcast, I'd just like to give you, Mr. Jones, a bit of a space to explain what you'd like people to go to, where you'd like them to go, where you'd like some attention.
Yeah, I mean, all right, I guess so. So I guess the main things I use are Twitter and Twitch. So, my Twitter handle is @an_animator's mind. Very animation based. Literally. It's my more professional account, but I post just small things like fundamentals and work. And, I retweet pretty much a lot of cool other animators' stuff. And from there, you can also see a bunch of information and guidance from other animators and potential, classes online if you ever wanted to get interested in animation yourself. Because, there's a lot of resources out there because, if you think about it, ever since the start, people just started off with books, or not even books. But it's pretty cool. And then my Twitch, I stream on Mr. Jones _0.
Just careful.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. I'm trying to stream a lot more at the moment because I really want to get back into the hang of it with like animation and games and
I
all
feel
that.
like it's a good way of building a good way of trying to get like a sort of community behind what you're working on.
Yeah,
if it would work
precisely.
out. Obviously,
Yeah,
if it doesn't
exactly.
work out, then it doesn't work out. But
If it doesn't work out, but in the end, I'm here for like pretty much just the fun and pretty much just streaming to an audience and basically like, hey, this is what I do. If you like what I do, then thank you very much. I just think it's an interesting way of like showing people what I do for work and like all that, and try and get a new generation of people or like even normal people interested in animation to have a crack at it, see what they think, and who knows, maybe think, I want to do animation as a side hobby, or like I want to be an animator and all that. And like if I manage to do
try
that,
and not scare them
awesome.
off with the amount of work you do.
Yeah, I would like to emphasize the amount of
Make
work
that
that I
attempt.
do maybe isn't. No, it's pretty normal. No, it's pretty normal. I can't lie. But yeah, no, those are the main two.
All your VODs aren't there. You've just got
That's
like
fine.
you've just got Overwatch. You haven't got any animation.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
no, I've only just recently turned on VODs.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I haven't had VODs on for ages. Like, I've only just recently turned them on because I was new with Twitch and I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah. But yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can always stream in the future and people can find it. But yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, that's about
absolutely.
it. Those are the only main two, to be honest.
Yeah, so people listening, go head over and give a follow on both of those things. That'll be amazing. Nero, what have you got going on this week? Anything fun?
I have a video I'm working on that's not related to the secret channel.
Hey.
Yeah, but I have no idea when it's gonna be ready. But
You're approaching the month mark, so
special.
Oh, 200 subscriber special. Oh,
yeah,
very
I've been
fancy.
starting
Never did one of
to
those
plan it
myself.
out. I haven't done much of it yet because it's kind of hard to figure out. Other than that, I guess I need
Very
to
interesting.
soon wrap up the whole secret channel thing and create that into a video. It's gonna take
Absolutely.
ages of editing.
Can't wait for that video. Gonna be a mad one. Super
Yeah.
exciting.
What are
Hopefully
you
it goes
up to?
viral, gets you famous, get the podcast famous. For me, yeah, just weekly videos. I am working on my second channel, the film review channel, having a new video, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, which will be super sick.
Ooh.
But yeah, just working on that kind of general video a week stuff, and also in the background, I think in a couple of weeks I will be beginning streaming. I think so.
Are you actually committing to this, or is it going to be another letdown?
No.
No.
I'm not gonna.
I'll
commit,
be doing it for 1 week and then leave again.
But
Well, I mean, last time you've been saying you'll be doing, you will start this for
I know,
months
I
now,
know,
and nothing's
I know.
happened. So I just thought I'd
yeah,
try and
thought
get
it'd remind
you
me
to say
that.
deadline.
Well, it should be the next
Remind
couple of
me
weeks,
of
but
deadlines.
it's either the next couple of weeks or it won't be for a few months. So,
Yeah.
ooh, what will happen? Yeah, but we'll see what happens. I think it'll be good times. Yeah, just kind of general stuff that we all do. I really appreciate we all really appreciate Mr. Jones for hopping on. We actually asked him super late to join us, and obviously we recorded it super late as we mentioned before. So he's gone above and beyond to come on the podcast. So
Yeah,
amazing for showing some love.
that was
Yeah.
successful. I'm not gonna lie, when we talk about animation for about 45 minutes, and I was starting
Yeah,
to
it
get
was
worried.
solid.
And now it's-
solid
now
amount
it's
of
been-
animation.
And now we seem to have done
Yeah.
everything else in about 15
Yeah.
minutes. So
Yeah.
We love it. We love to see it. We love to see it.
Brilliant. We love it.
I think that's the end of the podcast today, guys. We hope you have a wonderful week. Tune in next week for another Gamerpopcast. Same time next week, 7 p.m. every Sunday. Drop a subscribe, drop a like on the video, and go check out all 3 or 4, because we're going to include both the links Mr. Jones has said, or basically just click on all the links in the bottom and just follow wherever it says follow. Just click on them all. Just go boop 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 and just follow them all. Like just do it. No harm can be done from it, other than the
leave a comment and tell us what to talk about next week, because I feel like there's nobody watching. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I feel like nobody's there. Which is fine.
We had one comment on last week's video, which was like some weird
both been doing
link, and I didn't want to delete it because it was a comment.
Yeah,
and it was like
it was a comment, and we felt bad.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we've both been doing YouTube to a very, very tiny audience for years. But if you are there, drop us a comment, suggest a topic for next week. So if you're cool, maybe come on the podcast.
But we won't force you. Just to clarify, we won't force you to come on.
We won't force you.
Yeah.
Don't be intimidated.
Don't be intimidated. It'll be fine. So
don't be intimidated now.
So don't. If Mr. Jones says, "Oh, well, when I was on the podcast, they like forced me to come on," they said if I didn't come on, we'd like burn down my house and stuff. But we didn't say that. He's lying. Aren't you? Aren't you? Yes.
I don't remember.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for the podcast. We'll come back at you next week. Here. No, it's been a pleasure to have you. All right.
We're probably going to have
you
again,
everybody. We will. As we said,
in like 10 years.
Not even.
More like 10 weeks. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Lovely to have you all, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.